Hi, this is Dana, and I talk about in my videos. I talk about spiritual warfare. After the last two videos, God is guiding me to talk in this one about the importance of your household in terms of your fortune, your money, your abundance, your wealth. Um, the household obviously carries a very high importance because it's the environment where you live, and that environment has a very important uh, footprint on your energy because you sleep in your house, right? Um, you relax in your house. You're supposed to clean up your energy in your house and so on. And also because, especially if it's a property, you're a owner, then it carries your name. So if your household is carries attachments of darkness, then it is your responsibility as an owner to clean it up because it creates darkness around. Now, the household is the center of your abundance because the energy that comes into the house um, is essentially affecting your energy in which you are living, and this will determine what you will be able to achieve, what you will be able to create, and it obviously affects everything around. So you have a responsibility to clean up your house energy, your household energy. Um, Even if you of course are not the one who is creating the darkness, but however, if darkness is being sent to your household, still it affects you and it affects the surroundings, right? In your household you have a number of sources of entry, right? It's exactly the same thing like you have the sources of entry to your abundance flow. And for the household, some of the entry points are the utilities, everything that comes into your house, energy, gas, electricity, um, everything that comes into your house, that is affecting the energy in the house. Now, I can tell you for a fact that all companies, all major companies dealing with utilities and anything that is related to household contracts and bills have contracts with the matrix in order to give them access to your entry point. This is a very easy way in which the matrix is doing mind programming and attacks, and all the targeted individual targeted and the gang stalking is being carried out because it's very easy to attack someone by attacking through the entry points to his household, and essentially it has a huge impact on that individual because this is the environment in which the individual lives, and of course you don't have necessarily to be in the neighborhood, so you will attack them. You just send through utilities, and you already achieve high level attacks on that individual. Now you have, it's your responsibility as a house owner to ask guidance and identify what kind of attacks are being done through all sorts of entries into your household, and this can differ from case to case, and it's best for you to actually investigate yourself your own case. um, and For this reason, you have to, I mean, let's take for example, we will take another example to clarify the situation with the household. Everything you create in your life defines your potential. Now you come with divine rights from the beginning when you enter 3D, right? But it always, and as I explained in the previous video, you will receive divine rights in terms of money, according to your worth, your ranking, your status, and the purpose with which you came here, right? But this is the initial divine right. Then whatever you do in your life, it can increase your divine rights or it can decrease them. It's all a matter of intent and of actually intent of creation, action. So it's intent and action, because you might have divine rights for your purpose, but if by intention and by action you're not achieving your purpose, then you will not be able to capitalize those money. You will essentially block your flow of abundance by not having good intentions, by not taking action to actually create something. On the other hand, you might come into this life with lower wealth, a lower level wealth, and in terms of money, for example, because you don't necessarily have a very high purpose from the beginning, or because you have bondages created on your money. But through your intent and your action, you can increase the money to which you are entitled, um, in terms of multiplying potential of your money. Because if you do, for example, a lot of projects which are beneficial, a lot of pro bono work, a lot of charity, a lot of, and you create with whatever you have, then you will receive more, because your intent is pure and you're taking action. You are creating. Okay, so because of that, even though you came with a lower level money rights than another individual, if that individual doesn't do anything with the money he's receiving, you can end up having more divine rights in terms of money, because you have in good intent and you take action and you do create. So you create. This must be understood, because so many people are in a spiritual fight and they are doing so much harm to each other, to steal each other's money, to block each other's money. You know, even if you have no money whatsoever, but you have good intent and you create, God will give you money, because you proved potential to actually create something in 3D. No matter how much they steal from you, God will give you more money because you create something. On the other hand, if they steal money from you, but they do nothing good with that, with those money, those will just bring negative karma to them, because they're not creating anything positive with those money. And even someone who came into this life with a high level ranking and high level divine rights for money, if that individual doesn't do anything, either that he's a dreamer and he just sits around and dreams at grandiose things, but he never does anything to create with those money, that's a stagnation in his flow of abundance. He's not doing anything. So why would God invest in that individual unless he's waking up and starts creating, doing something with those money that he came here for? That means he's not an awakened individual. If he only, or even worse, it means that individual has a greed for money and he just enjoys keeping the money, having the money, which again blocks your flow of abundance, right? So this is the basic logic which applies to your money, but it applies to your household as well. It's the same situation with a household. Now you will have your household, um, but if you don't care enough to clean up the energy in your household, because it's the center of your abundance, that's where you create, right? You will have blockages in your flow of abundance. And again, utilities are being used on massive scale in order to block abundance for individuals in their own home. Um, Another very important source of entry to your flow of abundance, of course, is the source of income. So your job, right? Or your business. If you do business with somebody who's ill-intended and uses those money and in some sort of negative way, then you automatically will lower your beneficity in terms of material gains. If you work for an institution or a corporation or a business or I don't know, a bank or whatever, which is doing, the work of darkness, or it is signed up into this matrix system and doing enslavement and so on, they will put their um, footprint, the imprint of their wrongdoings and their intentions and so on the money that you bring into your house. So this comes down to a very, and I must say, when I was shown by God this initially, I was in shock, because I was like, excuse me, so tell me, I have been working all my life to become the best professional possible in my career, to give the best um, advice and analysis and so on. And I've been working for an institution who is essentially a machinery. It's a public institution, and it's a machinery of creating darkness and enslavement on people, right? And do you mean to tell me that the money I receive, which are not enough anyhow, considering my level of expertise, but the money that I receive as an income for my honest work, and very high level professional work, um, those money essentially bring darkness to me, because they consciously made some sort of type of enslavement mechanism through money. And I was like, this is beyond unfair. This is beyond unfair. This is not acceptable that I come to work and provide good advice, expertise, in good intention, right? And then the money I receive for my work, they essentially have the role of bringing darkness into my life, of bringing spirit attachments, of bringing all sorts of bondages created by public institutions, which supposedly are supposed to work for the individual, for the citizen. And I was in shock when God showed me this. I explained in other videos and in my prophetic writings that that year I also resigned because they make claims on you through public institutions and through your workplace. And also they do the same thing with the mortgages and with contracts that you sign when you buy houses and so on. They create on neighborhood level similar mechanism of enslavement through all these things associated to your household and your income. So these two, there are these three, if you want, um, um, sources are extremely important in your life, because they are centers of defining what type of energy you have in your environment. Is the source of income, where you get your money from, and you must investigate that for your own case. Your household, you know, and of course the work you put in, the work you do, which is not necessarily limited to your source of income. For example, in throughout time, I had my work of place where I worked, of course, for an income, but I also have done a lot of pro bono work outside of my office, which is also part of my creation system, right? So that also amounts to something. So every work that you do in this life, the one that you do for income and the one that you do outside of income, pro bono or whatever, the source of income and your household are the centers of creation of your energy footprint. And this is extremely important to make sure that all of these dimensions, first of all, that you have a clear picture what is going on, to make a diagnosis, to understand how much darkness is being sent to you. You must assume responsibility. You cannot be sitting there and not knowing what is going on, because not knowing, of course, is an excuse for a while, but then at some point you have to learn and you have to clean it up. So these are different ways in which your energy imprint can be influenced, can be altered, can be tampered with, right? You might be doing lots of creation work like I did in my life. I have been working a lot on many fields, and I've been doing a lot of charity work, a lot of pro bono work. I have been doing work for income, of course, as any individual, but they, at the same time, they would create all sorts of bondages and send darkness through my household, through credits, bank history, and also with mortgages and so on. And then essentially you keep creating, but so much darkness is being sent to you that the flow of abundance is being blocked, regardless how much you create. So at some point you must learn about this, and you must clean up your environment. If you don't clean up, for example, your household, and they keep sending darkness, your household becomes a center of feeding for darkness. And that is obviously will block the resources that come to you, most obviously. Even if you have rights, make sure to understand this. You cannot be saying, it's not my fault. Of course, it's not your fault, but if you have the high divine rights to receive lots of money, to do a lot of creative projects, but there are a lot of bondages for darkness to feed on your flow of abundance, you will not receive from God money until you clean up your flow of abundance of darkness, because it would mean a foolish thing from God to keep giving you money if you don't clean up your flow of abundance from bondages, because it would mean just to pour your financial divine right into feeding darkness. And when you see yourself that you do not have a natural flow of abundance, money don't come to you naturally, and they don't multiply, you don't create with them, or you work to create, but still the money don't come, you don't multiply money in your material existence, you just work, but you don't see the proper reflection in money, in income. You must understand that somehow, somewhere, you have a bondage created on your flow of abundance, and somebody is feeding from your money. And if you don't clean it up, if you don't make the effort to understand how it works and cut and break that bondage, God will stop sending you money. Because it's not normal for God to send you money just so darkness can feed from you. You might make your own choice to not do the spiritual fighting and not clean up your flow of abundance, or your household, or your income, to not give up that job, to not give up that house, to not, that is your free will choice. But at the same time, you must be very conscious that God at some point will stop giving you the money, even if they are divine right for you, because you're feeding darkness with them. And God cannot keep feeding this mechanism, even if it's not created by you. It's not your fault, but it becomes your fault if you refuse to break up from. This is why I keep saying, to learn to let go of relationships which drain you, because for the same thing applies for a couple. If you accept to be in a couple with somebody who has very negative karma, I kept saying, they will transfer the negative karma to you. God will stop giving you your divine right, because God gave punishment to that person for the negative karma. And instead of him paying for his negative karma, he feeds on your abundance flow. So why would God still send money to your abundance flow? It's self-defeating. So this is why you have to understand fully the choices you make. When you say, I accept to take this man back or this woman back, although they are going through negative karma, through punishment and divine justice, you must understand that your divine rights will be stopped, simply because that individual must pay the karma. And if you are blinded and you say, or misguided or fooled into accepting that individual back, you will end up paying that individual's karma. Your flow of abundance will stop, and so on, because this is the choice you made. The same thing applies to your household. You have to clean it up. Obviously, God knows that it's not your creation, but this is a time of ascension when God doesn't accept excuses anymore. You must start doing the spiritual fighting and clean up your environment in terms of household as well, in terms of income. You must give up that job which brings darkness into your house. It's no good. It doesn't help you to receive a high level income from an institution which is making darkness bondages on the money it gives you, because it only feeds darkness to you. It brings more darkness, more attachments to you. And if you're not willing to give up that job, God will stop giving you your rights. In that job, you will not receive the promotions you're entitled to. um, slowly darkness will feed on you, will grow by feeding on you, and you will end up losing that job anyway if you're not willing to give it up by free will. You must understand, specifically if you learn about this. So if you're in a job where you learn about the wrongdoings done by that institution or your superiors, and you refuse to let it go, to resign, then it's a conscious choice you make. And then the darkness makes more claim on you. You have to understand this. It's one thing when you have no clue what's going on. But if you start learning about this, hearing about this, and you still refuse to give up possessions which drag you down, you must understand that your flow of abundance will stop even if you have high level rights, divine rights for money. And even when you are still creating and working and creating good projects and good for humankind and so on, still it's going to stop. So you must understand and assume responsibility for all of this. And this is also part of the spiritual fighting. Cleaning up your money is part of the spiritual fighting. And when you talk about cleaning up your money, again, you talk about your sources of income, the places where you spend the money, and all of the other things which I have been describing in the previous video. This is the third video that I'm making related to money. So all of this um, is part of your relationship with the money, and it is your responsibility to clean it up, to do the spiritual fighting to clean it up. If you don't, you must understand that you will live with the consequences, and the money flow will stop. God will stop sending you money until you clean up all of this darkness, which is not your creation, but you must clean it up in order to receive money from God, because it's not beneficial for anyone that God keeps sending you money from, and from those money, all this darkness is being fed. Okay, I will stop here. I hope this is clear enough. It's very early in the morning. I just woke up, and God immediately guided me to write, to make this video. So I imagine somebody needs to hear this. There's a huge responsibility to household attachments created in a systematic manner from multiple sources by multiple types of mafia organizations on households. The banks are one, financial institutions, but also in the neighborhood, the gang stalking is being carried on through that. The targeted individual programs are carried on through that. Electricity is one type of energy which is an entry point into your house and is being used for this to send darkness attacks. And all the utilities are being used in this way. So I imagine that, and I hope that there is somebody who actually can investigate this at a higher level, and somebody can actually start cleaning up not only individual households, but the system itself. So this madness will stop, because I still believe that this is complete madness and foolishness for this to be allowed, that individuals use utilities to send darkness to your household, and your I imagine that this is why God is asking me to put this out there. I have on my Facebook page prophetic writings in which I describe more in details these things. It's much more easier to explain in writing than to suddenly start speaking in a different language about these things in a very short time, because of the limit of the videos. So if you want more details, please go back to my prophetic writings on my Facebook. I am working at also publishing them, so you'll be able to purchase my book soon. And with this being said, I'm going to stop here by thanking to those who have donated to support my work and my channel. I welcome those who are interested to support my work. You find the PayPal information, PayPal account, where you can donate for supporting my work, in the description box below. Thank you.